The beginning of America's alcohol ban. Let me take you back to January 16th, 1920, the day the 18th Amendment to the United States Constitution officially went into effect. For the first time in modern history, a major country attempted something radical, a nationwide ban on alcohol. The production, sale, and transportation of alcoholic beverages became illegal across America. Soon after, the Volstead Act enforced the ban with harsh penalties, including prison sentences of up to 5 years for alcohol trafficking. At first, many Americans welcomed the decision. Alcoholism had become a national crisis. Violence, crime, poverty, and workplace accidents were heavily linked to excessive drinking. To many people, Prohibition looked like the solution. During the day, bars disappeared from public view. But beneath the surface, an entirely different America was emerging. An underground world where criminals became businessmen, smugglers became millionaires, and illegal alcohol created one of the largest organized crime networks in modern history. The legal alcohol industry vanished, only to be replaced by the Mafia. And Americans began asking a dangerous question: how did banning one evil create something even worse? To understand why alcohol was banned in the first place, we need to go back much further. Humans have consumed alcohol for thousands of years. In ancient Egypt, beer was part of everyday life and even included in workers' wages. In Viking mythology, fallen warriors were rewarded in Valhalla by drinking alongside Odin, but alcohol changed dramatically over time. When European settlers arrived in America, they discovered massive fertile lands, especially for growing corn. By the 17th century, farmers were producing huge surpluses. The problem was transportation. Moving large quantities of corn across long distances was expensive and inefficient, so settlers found a smarter solution. Instead of transporting 20 sacks of corn, they could distill it into whiskey, store it in a single barrel, transport it easily, and sell it for far more money. Unlike crops that spoiled over time, whiskey actually became more valuable as it aged. Alcohol was no longer just a drink, it became liquid gold. At the same time, alcohol production itself evolved rapidly. Traditional fermented drinks like ancient beer usually contained very low alcohol levels. But immigrants from Ireland and Scotland introduced distillation techniques capable of producing far stronger liquor. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Machines made alcohol cheaper, faster, and easier to mass produce than ever before. Suddenly, a bottle of whiskey could cost less than a cup of coffee. And surprisingly, doctors encouraged people to drink it. In early America, clean drinking water was often contaminated with sewage and dangerous diseases like cholera and typhoid. Many physicians believed alcohol was safer than polluted water. Even children were sometimes given diluted whiskey. Slowly, drinking became deeply embedded in American culture. Sad, have a drink. Celebrating, have another. Finished work, go to the saloon. For many workers, alcohol breaks became part of daily life. But by the early 1800s, the consequences became impossible to ignore. Crime rates increased dramatically. Factories saw deadly workplace accidents caused by drunken workers. Families were devastated by addiction and domestic violence. Saturday nights became infamous. Workers received their wages, spent much of it in bars, then returned home intoxicated and violent. Children often hid when their fathers came home drunk. As alcohol consumption spiraled out of control, resistance movements began to emerge. In 1840, 6 former alcoholics gathered in a Baltimore saloon and admitted that alcohol had destroyed their lives. They formed a group called the Washingtonians. Their mission was simple: encourage alcoholics to admit their suffering, support one another, and commit to sobriety. The movement spread rapidly across the country. At the same time, women became some of the strongest voices against alcohol. One woman, Eliza Thompson, organized groups that stood outside pharmacies and saloons praying and demanding an end to alcohol sales. Then came Carrie Nation, a woman who became legendary for entering saloons with a hatchet and smashing bottles, mirrors, and furniture apart herself. Within months, similar movements spread across America. What started as scattered protests slowly transformed into a massive political force. And eventually, those movements would push the United States toward one of the most controversial laws in its history: Prohibition.